We Are Seven by William Wordsworth. A simple child that lightly draws its breath and feels its life in every limb, what should it know of death? I met a little cottage girl. She was 8 years old, she said. Her hair was thick with many a curl that clustered round her head. She had a rustic woodland air, and she was wildly clad. Her eyes were fair and very fair, her beauty made me glad. Sisters and brothers, little maid, how many may you be? How many? 7 in all, she said, and wondering looked at me. And where are they, I pray you tell? She answered, 7 are we, and 2 of us at Conway dwell, and 2 are gone to sea. 2 of us in the churchyard lie, my sister and my brother, and in the churchyard cottage I dwell near them with my mother. You say that 2 at Conway dwell, and 2 are gone to sea. Yet ye are 7, I pray you tell, sweet maid, how this may be. Then did the little maid reply, 7 boys and girls are we. 2 of us in the churchyard lie, beneath the churchyard tree. You run about, my little maid, your limbs they are alive. If 2 are in the churchyard laid, then ye are only 5. Their graves are green, this may be seen. The little maid replied, 12 steps or more from my mother's door, and they are side by side. My stockings there I often knit, my handkerchief there I hem, and there upon the ground I sit, and sing a song to them. And often after sunset, sir, when it is light and fair, I take my little porringer, and I eat my supper there. The first that died was Sister Jane, in bed she lay moaning, till God released her of her pain, and then she went away. So in the churchyard she was laid, and when the grass was dry, together round her grave we played, my brother John and I. And when the ground was white with snow, and I could run and slide, my brother John was forced to go, and he lays by her side. How many are you then, said I, if they 2 are in heaven? Quick was the little maid's reply, O master, we are 7. But they are dead, these 2 are dead, their spirits are in heaven. 'Twas throwing words away, for still the little maid would have her will, and said, nay, we are 7. So the literal meaning of this poem is that the man asked the girl how many of her and her siblings are there. She answered 7, and then told him about each one of them. So then the man, after she told him that 2 of them passed away, did not fully understand how she still said that there were 7 of them while he only counted 5. The figurative meaning is that he was saying that there were 7 kids because after the 2 passed, he believed that they were in the past, and that now that they're not here, they don't count, so there are only 5. The little girl was saying because just because that they passed doesn't mean that she didn't believe that they were still with her, because she still incorporated them in their everyday life. Even though she still acknowledged death, she believed that they were still here, or they are. The devices that I used are perspective and theme. So perspective was based on the girl and the man, because the man saw the kids as being no more. They were in the past, so that's where he sort of left them. And the girl, she believed that just because you passed away doesn't mean that you're gone. You just still move on in your everyday life, and you still incorporate them. And then the theme deals with life and death, the adult perspective versus the kid's perspective. The adults are more mature, and they have more of a reality outlook on life, and they see it as being the end, or just leaving them in the past and moving on. But the kids have a more innocent outlook on life, and they say that death is more like a new beginning rather than just the finish line. So these devices played a major part in tone, atmosphere, meaning, and mood. It had a positive effect on tone, meaning that the man, he wanted to learn more, especially at the beginning of the poem when he was describing her and asking her how many siblings he had. It also had a contemplative effect on tone, because he was trying to understand how the girl was looking and how she was seeing life after death, and incorporated them into her everyday life. The atmosphere was sort of untamed, and this is because in the beginning of the poem, he was saying how her hair was really curly and all over her head, and how she was wildly dressed. And the structure of the poem is them going back and forth in between stanzas, not really having a definite spot where one would pick up and then the other one would stop. And meaning, the devices made it very complex, because when you get into the figurative meaning, it's not just about how many siblings she has, it's about how she sees them and how they are still living within herself. And then the mood is inquisitive, because as a reader, the poem makes you think about your own perspective on life and death and how you see it, whether you see it as the girl, where it's more of a is and are, or whether you look at it as the man does and see it as were or was.